Sbu Socks is a brand that is fast hitting the market with something they've always craved. Sbu is an entrepreneur with flair and ambition and has taken the ordinary sock to new and excitingly colorful heights. He is our contact.
My name is Sbu Socks. I would love to introduce myself as the founder and creative director of Africa's leading luxury sock brand. But that's not how I imagined life to be, as a kid. I was raised by 4 beautiful women: my mom, my gran, my aunt, and my sister. As you can imagine, everything, it's all about detail, it's all about how it looks, how it feels when you're raised by women. I grew up in a very colorful, happy background. I grew around a family of believers, a family of dreamers, and most importantly, a family that encourages people to do stuff. I feel one thing I can relate right now is stories of me coming back with an 80%, with a 90%, and everybody would go crazy over that. The sense of them being proud of you made you happy and made you want to work hard. There are many elements to me being in a fashion business, and I always call it fashion business because I'm first an entrepreneur, I'm first an artist, The first element will be the women who raised me, they are meticulous people. I remember growing up with my mom going to do window shopping in Starterfords, and her telling me how cool guys were or how I should look as a guy. And I remember hours of going to the mall and just going through clothes that we never even bought because she didn't find the right piece. How I got introduced to the fashion business was after my matric. I was living with 2 of my best friends, Tepo and Julius. And we attended SA Fashion Week. I think it was 2010. And from that time, we were like, wow, the world of fashion is big. And plus, in South Africa, it was starting to boom then. As you know, we follow the West when it comes to popular culture, when it comes to fashion. But now as Africans and South Africans, we're starting to have our own voices with the introduction of AFI and designers like David Tlale, Ephraim was starting out at the time, Kenzani. Those are the local references we had. But I had never, even for a single day, planned or wanted a career in fashion. Ideally, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I just wanted to be an actor. And that is when I went to the Eastern School of the Arts and had a great time as an artist. Just at your early stages, you're just trying to find your voice. And during that time, before Twitter years, I started idealizing people like Dumisho Masha, who would then have a greater impact later on in my life. But I'd follow his career on when he was a presenter, when he was an MC, when he was an actor. And I said to myself, I'd really like to fashion my life after his. As a young budding actor, I cannot explain the feeling of idealizing someone for years, following them, cutting every newspaper article, watching every TV interview, and now you meet them live in person. It was an out-of-body experience. Went up to him, told him how I love what he does, and we exchanged contacts. He took me to the set of a film he was currently shooting at the time. We went on a trip together to Limpopo. And that is how we formulated a relationship, and who would then be my sounding board for everything I wanted to do. From the time Dumisha and I met, that is when I started Sbu Socks. But in that 2-year gap, I did everything imaginable, from in-store promotions, to leaflet distributions and a robot, to every kind of promotion you can imagine for me to pay rent. And 3 years later, I'm part of the top 4 commercial sock brands. You know, I was studying the masters, and now I'm part of the masters. And for me, I wanted to do that. And we started making socks. We started in a very funny way. And when I tell the Sbu Socks story all the time, I'm inspired myself by the story. I'm inspired by the people who supported me throughout the years, and there still are. I'm inspired by individuals like Thapelo, who just works here at Absa Towers in Sandton, who's bought from the first pair of Sbu Socks and has the latest collection. It inspired me because we started in a very small way. We wanted to do something, and I remember going up to Mr. Price, and I bought socks there, repackaged them. I bought each pair for 5 rand and sold it for 25 rands. And my business, which is growing as a multi-million rand brand, was started from just 70 rands. I'd really like for us to have a very progressive meeting. Everybody's going to be given a fair chance to talk. Can we, I'm begging this, guys, can we come up with solutions? Let us try things and let it fail, and let us move on. Let's come up with something else, because that's how we're gonna come up with systems for Sbu Socks and things like that. If you need a pod, land, because Mike, I think can we please be excused? Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Sure. One of my biggest concerns was that I don't want to die poor. I want to leave a legacy behind. In the country and in Africa, yes, you can leave a legacy in the sense of your name will be known for generations, but how much wealth are you leaving for generations to come? And what made me realize that was I was in a taxi this one time with 2 ladies, and the other was talking about her mother and her pension fund. And the pension fund was 300,000. Shocking news. People labor so hard all of their lives just for 300K. That is one transaction for some entrepreneurs or for some people. And I said, I don't want that for myself. I want to leave a legacy behind for generations to come. And I realized that the only way to do that as an individual is if I commit myself into entrepreneurship and establishing something of my own.
How did you overcome the age discrimination?
Well, you know, there's challenges every day. For example, I miss a lot of Thursday nights, a lot of Friday nights in Braamfontein, which are very exciting, you know, and really have to focus on the dream. But also, you almost don't have an option when you come from a background similar to mine.
I've joined Sbu Socks after hearing him speak on radio, and I took his numbers on radio when he was interviewed on Metro FM, and I called him after that ordering a pair of socks. And from the conversation we had on WhatsApp from there, we became friends, and we got so excited, and we both told so we had one thing in common. And though we differ in views, which is good, we call it the Game of Thrones, you know, where there's 2 thrones. One is an entrepreneur, very creative-minded, and whereas I'm an engineer, very process-minded, put together the triumvirate of having an engineer and a creative person in one place. It creates a very powerful triumvirate in terms of building this business and taking it all over Africa and all over to the world. And one of the most important things that sort of unite us is the Pan-Africanist thinking, where we said, let us redefine a South African white man and bring and sort of take a narrative of that and put it in a sock. This is an African culture, and take it all over the world.
Since being in the fashion space, being exposed to designers like David Tlale, I was working for Jan Malan, who is the guy behind David Tlale. I said, let me just start off with this whole sock thing. Quite frankly, honestly, when you're starting something, you never have much faith in that thing. I was doing it just to pass time, just for extra income, not knowing the impact it would have in my community, in my country, the people it would introduce me to, and how much it can broaden my horizon. Now the dream was not about me, but it was about my family. It was about the people I'm responsible to every day, whose livelihood is dependent on me. It was about production, it's about the factory, it's about the economy, it's about how what I'm doing in Johannesburg can affect how other people are living somewhere in Cape Town. And that is when I started now to slowly shift from just being a storyteller into being entrepreneurial about telling my stories. And that was the start of Sbu Socks in 2013. Manje sise we're in Woodmead at Gang Communications. They're doing most of our marketing. So there's a campaign we're going to be doing, but everything is still hush-hush now with 2 major brands for July 2016. So that's why we're here to finalize and sign contracts and things like that.
Now, I remember when we had to discuss the start of a contract over the phone, it was so amazing because it was like, yeah, are you sure this is the right thing? I said, yes, it's a good deal. This is how we're going to go around it. It was from there he approached me and said, yeah, do you still really want to work in the mine? Because you don't belong there. And I said, look, I've been hearing this for so many years that maybe it is about time that I sort of take a step back and start focusing in business and start focusing in building SMEs, building Sbu Socks to Africa and to the world. And to me, the one word that I love to use most of the time is serendipity. When you find that just that one thing that you're not looking for in life. And that was the time when I was listening to his interview and I met this man. And thanks to Metro, thanks for me again for tuning in on Metro on that particular day.
This current collection is called the Sbu Socks ZA Royalty Collection. And really, with this collection, we're trying to commemorate South Africa's 4 kings. And the collection is named after the 4 kings. The Zulu designed socks is named after King Shaka. We have the Ndebele, a very colorful one, after the Ndebele king Umziligazi, the Basotho king Mushweshwe, the Xhosa king Uyinza. And then we also have our own interpretation of the South African flag, which is a South African logo all over the sock, over a grey background, and we took the South African flag colors and just splashed them all over the sock. Yeah. And really what this collection does is that it celebrates South Africa's renowned wealth, and this is artistically exhibited in 3 forms, which is minerals, agriculture, and the history of South Africa, and you can see the colors.
Our relationship started way back, you know, when they're talking about the relationship on social media that is important. I'm a testimony to that, because Sbu I knew him before Sbu Socks, you know, and then I started interacting with him on Twitter, and then at one point he said he's selling socks. I was amazed. I was like, who the hell on earth sells socks, you know? And I started saying, okay, let me sell socks with you. At that point in time, we didn't have any positions for ourselves and stuff, but I slowly grew to love public relations as I was studying public relations with UNISA. I'm currently doing my first year, and it's a great journey, I must say, because I've learned a lot of stuff that I didn't read on my textbooks that were provided. But with Sbu Socks, as I've been the head of public relations, it has taught me a lot of things, basically how to do press releases, how to run social media, and above that, the benefits of meeting the people that you never thought that you'd meet. And through Sbu Socks, I met one individual that I admire the most, which is Debo Kgoditshego, the founder of Free the Book Essay, and he currently wrote a book, Kasinet, you know, and yeah, that's through Sbu Socks. So me being part of Sbu Socks, I believe that it was a blessing in disguise, because it made me see fashion in a different perspective. Our socks are literally manufactured in South Africa, you know, and it's something that South Africa always wanted, to buy proudly South African products. So yeah, that's me, Bongani Muhari, at Sbu Socks.
In terms of exposure, we don't need exposure. We've been in the highest level ever in the world. We've been on CNN and Forbes. Highest level you can be. So we do not need anything else from anybody. So for the mere fact that you're gonna be using our story, our name, our face, our brand, and anything else for usage, you need to pay us. I feel Sbu Socks is important in shaping the future of South Africa in this sense. As I've mentioned that I'm a storyteller, the reason why I want to be in the public so often is so that people can hear my story and be inspired all the time. I cannot fight for people in the political space because I'm not a politician. I'm not as strong as an entrepreneur, but I'm strong as an artist. And I have my space as a social commentator at reflecting the realities of our society so that we can then equip ourselves and move forward. I feel strong as that, and I feel that's where Sbu Socks really plays as a brand. For example, last time I visited the factory in Cape Town, they told us that they're employing 60 people. And when you go to the factory in Cape Town opposite, there's a squatter camp. They're employing 60 people, meaning that whatever work we're doing in Johannesburg goes on to impact 60 families back in Cape Town. That's the first part. We are contributing to the economy of the country. We are social activists and social commentators, and we also contribute to the arts and culture of the country by telling our stories, and telling our stories using local material and using local culture also. But 10 years from now, we'll look back and say this is the work we did. We just finished now discussing a partnership we'll be having with a major national magazine and another major sneaker brand, you know. So that's going to be happening 1st July, both of them. Now we're going to Braamfontein for another meeting with another big brand, maybe.
A typical day at Sbu Socks. Basically what we do is we put our customers first and we make sure that we courier on time, that we communicate with everyone. We make sure that our communication is very good, that everyone who buys our sock doesn't struggle. Bringing up ideas, every idea is good. I believe that we're young, we're creative. Sbu himself is a creative entrepreneur. That's how he puts it, and that's how I say it on a daily basis. We are happy to close down deals. We are happy to communicate with corporates. We are happy to communicate with our customers. And once more again, we are happy to give you Sbu Socks.
We're meeting with another major brand, which is South Point in Braamfontein. It's a student accommodation. The conversation's a bit sketchy for now, but we're really planning a collaboration between the two. We're not sure what's happening. Personally, I'm still on a quest where I'm still trying to have more in my storehouse. You know, I'm still trying to build my wealth for the brand, and personally, I'm still trying to build myself personally as I see myself 50 years now as a fountain for wisdom, for African entrepreneurs, for African artists and storytellers. We're the youngest and the first black brand to appear on CNN International, which happened in the early stages of the brand. And people should understand what happens when you see someone similar to you doing great things. I mean, I think that's the kind of impact we currently have in the greater society. We are trying to change perspective, most importantly. We are saying to young people, there is no one right way of doing life. You can actually find your passion, stick to it, and succeed in doing that. And we've chosen a very common piece of clothing, which is a pair of socks, and we are revolutionizing it. We are changing how things are being done in corporate SA. We are changing how fashion is being done by African designers. And we are saying to people, let's start having local case studies internationally. We're making noise in spaces where a brand like Sbu Socks wasn't a few years ago. And we're certainly opening doors for young black brands in retail spaces.
My message to most South African, the problem is that most of us, we grow up from parents that has always told us, look, go to school, study, and become an employee one day and do good for yourself. And I'm saying to the young people, to the generation today, that look, you know what, conventional education that we've almost had will not solve the problems that we have in the world, because the problems we have in the world have actually grown exponentially. So we need something bigger than your formal education system. You need to learn how to be strong, move away from the metaphysical to the spiritual, that it's beyond money, it is beyond material. It is about the spirituality, where you say you want to build a legacy. If all these guys that are sitting in these corporate companies can come out and build their own corporates, how many people can we employ in South Africa? That will obviously increase the amount of employment and will move the employment rates in South Africa to another level, you know, and up until we leave the comfort zone and say, look, it is about taking that knock in your life and say, I'm about the legacy. Let us build a legacy. Nelson Mandela has done that very well. So is the many heroic people in all over the world, in all over Africa. It is about time that we start doing that as well.
A lesson that I can give to the viewers is only one. You know, it's believe in your dream. I'm not this big PR guru myself, but I have interacted with people that I never thought I'd interact with. You know, I believe strongly in my dream that one day I will have a Mohari Media Holdings, and I believe that Sbu Socks will also have its manufacturing company. It will be also able to employ over 500 people in South Africa, purely because we will be building different departments as other companies and manufacturing companies. And there's no dream that cannot be lived. Every dream is possible. Dream it, live it, and believe it.
We are living in the 21st generation where everything is so fast. Instagram, instant gratification, instant money. I want people to take from this documentary that anything that was not created by God will not stop you from becoming what God created you to be. Whether you're a simple Sbu Socks who wanted to be an actor, who studied politics and never worked out, and whatever it is, but the idea of God wanting me to grow up and be an influential man in whatever space, it will materialize. And obviously as an entrepreneur, early stages some things don't have money for the first piloting project. You invest, you know, it's an investment. But over time, things like this, because you've invested to a crowd, these people have something like 10,000 students on their database, you know. So already to me as an entrepreneur and a creative, I've already converted that 10,000 people into 10 million rands, you know, over time. So yeah, that's what's happening, you know. So you just create opportunities for yourself. I've believed that it's going to happen in one form or another. I thought I was going to be influential and show God's greatness in the acting and storytelling space. And now I'm being dubbed as SA's young entrepreneur. I'm more credible as an entrepreneur and as a speaker. So people can easily listen to me, though they don't get my ideas, but it's much easier for people to listen to me now than back then. I don't care how long it takes or how hard it comes to you, but eventually it will become, in different forms for that matter. I found solace in knowing that I'm living my dream. I'm becoming the man that I imagined to be. I may not be it may not be on stage or in film, but one way or another, I'm influencing and disrupting my own industry.